Jon Daly with the EP Boulevard Pawn Shop here in Memphis. We're with Lowell Hays, who was Elvis Presley's jeweler, and we're going to talk about a great story that Lowell has from July of 1975 when Elvis was in Greensboro and was headed to Asheville, and I'll let Lowell pick it up from here.
Well, the show in Greensboro didn't go well because Elvis didn't feel well, and he just wasn't happy with anything about the show in Greensboro. So that night he told us all to be ready to leave for Asheville at 9 the next morning. And of course we'd never seen Elvis awake at 9 o'clock in the morning, so we didn't really believe he was going to be ready to go. So we didn't get ready to go, but he did. And he went to the airport. When we found out he was on his way to the airport, of course we had to hustle, but we got there just as he was, his plane was, they were closing the door on his plane. He left us standing on the runway in Greensboro and flew to Asheville.
Now, when you say not just you, he left the band, he left everybody.
Well, the band always went in a separate plane.
Yeah.
So it was just me, Dr. Nick, and a couple of his bodyguards that flew on the plane with him. That was it. So there were 4 or 5 of us that he left in Greensboro. Well, after the plane took off, the pilot radioed back that Elvis had told him that when he got off in Asheville, he was to come back and get us, and we were to wait there on him. So we waited, and they did. They came back in a couple of hours and picked us up. Well, when we landed in Asheville, I was told that Elvis was looking for me. So I went up to his room, and we were in a little 2-story motel. That the second floor, there was only 2 floors. The second floor was guarded at each end, so we had the entire floor. So I went to Elvis, and he said, "Lowell," he said, my band is mad at me. He said, "We had a bad night," and he said, "I want to buy them all a gift." And I said, "Well, okay, here's my case." And so he bought everything in the case, which consisted of maybe 8 or 10 pieces of jewelry. And he said, "Lowell, I need a lot more. I've got a lot more jewelry to give." So I said, "Well, Elvis, my brother has a plane." I said, "He can bring jewelry from my store and be over here, in an hour." And so he said, "Well, let's do that." So I called my brother and had him meet me at the airport in Asheville. And Elvis bought quite a bit more jewelry from members of his band. And so that night, when he was on the stage singing, I was standing right beside the stage with Felton Jarvis, and he came over and he's singing, and at the same time he came over and he bent over and he said, "Lowell, where's your case?" And I said, "Well, it's right here." And he said, "Well, set it up here." So I set it up on the stage, and he opened it, and he reached in and got a ring out of it, and he walked back over on the stage. All the time, remember, he's singing. He gave it to somebody on the front row. Pretty soon he was back. Well, this went on for the rest of his show till he cleaned out my case, and he had spent nearly $100,000. So, because he bought all the inventory I had. So after the show, I went out and got in the car with him, and I was sitting in the jump seat facing him, and I said, "Elvis, I'm really embarrassed. I wish I hadn't been here." I said, I don't come with you to take advantage of you. I come because you asked me to bring some jewelry in, but I said, I didn't know you were going to try to buy the whole store. And he patted me on the knees and looked at me and twisted up his lip, like he does, and he smiled at me and he says, "Lowell," he said, "I'm going to have to sing 5 minutes longer tomorrow night to pay for that jewelry."
Wow.
5 minutes longer.
So the night in Asheville, that Elvis gave away $100,000 worth of jewelry, as told by Lowell Hays, who was right there in person on the side of the stage. Wow. Well, if anyone from the Asheville area has any of this jewelry, please reach out to us. Please note in the comments, let us know at the elvispawnshop@gmail.com. Wow, that is a fabulous story. And Lowell, you still sell jewelry? And Lowell, you can get Lowell's jewelry at lowellhays.com. So if you weren't in the front row in Asheville, you still can get some Elvis jewelry from Lowell. Well, we appreciate your time today. We appreciate your stories. These are so fascinating. They're so fun. We appreciate you doing this for us Elvis fans to be able to enjoy a moment in history with Elvis. Please like and subscribe to our video.